Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Smart English Speaking, the podcast where we help you speak English with confidence. Not perfection, confidence. I'm Emily.
And I'm Leo. And today we're talking about something really personal, something almost every single one of you has felt.
Yes, if you've ever opened your mouth to say something in English and then closed it again, if your heart starts beating fast before you speak, if you know the grammar, you know the words, but your voice just won't come out, this episode is for you. Today's topic: why you are still afraid to speak English. And don't worry, this is not going to be a boring lecture. We're going to tell real stories, we're going to laugh a little, we're going to learn new vocabulary, and by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly why your brain does this to you and what to do about it.
So get your coffee, get your tea, put in your earphones, and let's get started. Okay, Emily, let me ask you something. Have you ever learned a language where you felt this fear?
Actually, yes. I studied Spanish for 2 years in university. I could read a newspaper, I could write essays, but when a real Spanish speaker talked to me in a cafe in Madrid,
What happened?
my mind went completely blank. Blank, Leo, like someone turned off the lights in my brain.
That's so relatable. I think almost every English learner listening right now is nodding their head.
Exactly. And here's the strange part. It's not because we don't know English. Many of you listening right now have studied English for 5 years, 10 years, even 15 years. You know grammar rules that native speakers don't even know.
It's true. I once met a Korean student who could explain the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous better than me, and I'm a native speaker.
So the problem isn't knowledge. The problem is something else, something deeper.
And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Before we go further, let's grab a quick vocabulary word from what Leo just said. He used the phrase unpack today. When we say we're going to unpack an idea, it doesn't mean opening a suitcase.
Right. It means to explain something complicated piece by piece slowly.
So you could say, let's unpack why you feel nervous before meetings. Try repeating that sentence with me. Ready? Let's unpack why you feel nervous before meetings. Perfect. Pause the podcast for 2 seconds and say it out loud yourself. Don't just listen, speak. That's the whole point of this podcast.
All right, let's get into it. Why are people still afraid to speak English, even after years of studying?
I've thought about this a lot, and I believe there are 5 main reasons. Leo, should we go through them one by one?
Let's do it. Reason number 1?
The number 1 reason is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners grew up in classrooms where every mistake was corrected immediately, sometimes even punished with a bad grade or a red pen all over the paper.
Oh, the red pen. I remember my French teacher in high school. Every single error, red ink. My paper looked like a crime scene.
A crime scene. That's a great way to describe it. And that experience teaches your brain something dangerous. Mistakes are bad. Mistakes are shameful.
So later, as an adult, even though nobody is grading you anymore, your brain still remembers that feeling.
Exactly. Your brain protects you by staying silent. Silence feels safer than a mistake.
But here's the truth, and I want everyone listening to really hear this. Native speakers make mistakes too, all the time.
All the time. I mix up who and whom constantly. I say less instead of fewer. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares because communication isn't about perfect grammar. It's about connection.
Reason number 2, translating in your head. This is such a common habit. You hear a question in English, then your brain quickly translates it into your native language, thinks of an answer, and translates that answer back into English. That takes time, a lot of time. And by the time you finish translating, the conversation has already moved on. The other person is talking about something new, and you're still stuck 3 sentences behind.
It's exhausting. I imagine it's like trying to run a race while carrying a heavy backpack the whole time.
That's a perfect image, and the backpack is your native language, translating everything.
Reason 3. Comparing yourself to other learners or even to native speakers.
Oh, this one is huge. Social media makes it worse. You see someone on YouTube speaking fluent English, sounding so smooth, so confident, and you think, I'll never sound like that.
But you don't see their journey. You don't see the 3 years they spent making mistakes in private before they got confident.
Comparison steals your motivation. It turns learning into a competition instead of a personal journey. Reason 4. Simply not practicing enough real conversations. Many learners study grammar books, watch videos, do exercises, but they rarely speak out loud to another human being.
It's like reading books about swimming for 10 years but never actually getting into the pool.
You'll know everything about swimming theoretically, but the moment you're in the water, your body panics because it's never actually done it before.
Speaking English is a physical skill, not just a mental one. Your mouth, your tongue, your breathing, they need practice too. And reason number 5, which I think is very powerful, one single bad memory.
Yes, sometimes it only takes one moment. Maybe someone laughed at your accent once. Maybe a teacher embarrassed you in front of the class. Maybe a native speaker looked confused when you spoke and you felt small.
That one moment can create fear that lasts for years, even decades.
But here's something important to remember. That moment happened in the past. It does not define your future. You are allowed to let it go.
Okay, let's pause the deep talk for a second and do a quick pronunciation exercise, because this podcast is also here to help your speaking muscles.
Great idea. Let's practice a sentence with the word confidence, because that's really what today's episode is about.
The word is confidence. 3 syllables. Confidence. The stress is on the first part, con.
Let's break it down slowly. Con, like con in control. Fee, like fee but shorter. Dense, like dense but softer at the end. Now say it with me, 3 times slowly. Confidence. 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 Now let's put it in a full sentence. Repeat after me. I am building my confidence every single day. Say it out loud right now, wherever you are. Don't be shy, nobody's watching. Unless you're on a bus, then maybe whisper it.
Emily, can I tell a story? I think it will help our listeners a lot.
Please, go ahead.
So, a few years ago, I was teaching English online, and I had a student named Daniel from Brazil. Daniel had studied English for almost 8 years. 8 years! He could write beautiful essays. His grammar was almost perfect. But in our very first lesson, he told me, "Leo, I'm sorry. I'm going to speak very badly." And I said, "Let's just try." And for the first 5 minutes, he was shaking, actually shaking, Emily. His voice was trembling.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It was, but I told him something simple. I said, "Daniel, I don't care about your mistakes. I care about your ideas. Tell me about your day." And slowly, he started talking. He made mistakes, lots of them, but he kept going.
What happened after that?
We had lessons twice a week for 6 months, and by the end, Daniel wasn't just speaking, he was joking with me in English. He was telling long stories about his family, his job, his dreams. His grammar still wasn't perfect, but his confidence completely transformed.
That gives me chills, honestly. It shows that the fear isn't really about language ability. It's about permission, giving yourself permission to be imperfect.
Exactly. Daniel didn't need more grammar lessons. He needed a safe space to fail and keep trying.
And that's exactly what we want this podcast to be for you, a safe space. Let's grab another vocabulary word from Leo's story. He said Daniel's voice was trembling.
To tremble means to shake slightly, usually because of fear, cold, or strong emotion.
For example, her hands were trembling before the job interview.
Or his voice trembled when he spoke in front of the class.
Try making your own sentence with tremble. Pause the podcast and say it out loud.
Let's get a little bit into the psychology now, because understanding why your brain reacts this way can actually reduce the fear itself.
So here's the simple version. When you're about to speak a foreign language in front of someone, your brain can sometimes treat it like a danger situation, the same part of your brain that would react if you saw a wild animal.
Wait, seriously? Speaking English is like seeing a lion?
In a way, yes. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between real physical danger and social danger, like the fear of embarrassment. Both can trigger something called the fight, flight, or freeze response. And freeze, that's exactly what happens when your mind goes blank, right? Exactly. Your heart rate increases, your palms might sweat, your thoughts scatter. It's not weakness, it's biology. So when you forget a simple word you definitely know, like table, in front of someone, it's not because you're bad at English. It's because your nervous system briefly hijacked your thinking brain. Once you understand this, you can be kinder to yourself.
I love that phrase, be kinder to yourself. So many learners are their own harshest critics.
The truth is, the way you speak to yourself in your head matters. If you constantly think, I'm so bad at English, your brain believes it. But if you think, I'm learning and every attempt makes me stronger, your brain believes that instead.
Let's do another short pronunciation moment. This time, the word is nervous system.
2 words, nervous and system.
Nervous. The stress is on the first syllable, nervous, not nervose.
And system, system. Stress on the first syllable too.
Let's use it in a sentence. My nervous system calms down when I practice speaking regularly.
Say that sentence slowly 3 times out loud. Now let's do something fun. Leo and I are going to act out a short dialogue. Imagine 2 friends meeting at a coffee shop. One of them is nervous about an English job interview tomorrow.
I'll be Mark. Emily, you be Sarah.
Hey Mark, you look a little stressed. Is everything okay?
Honestly, no. I have a job interview tomorrow and it's going to be in English. I'm really nervous.
That's completely normal. What are you worried about exactly?
I'm worried I'll forget words or I'll say something wrong and they'll think I'm not good enough.
Can I tell you something? Nobody expects you to speak perfectly. They want to see how you communicate, how you think, how you solve problems. Your English doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be clear. That actually makes me feel a little better. Also, if you don't understand a question, you can just say, "Could you repeat that, please?" That's completely professional. Native speakers ask that all the time, too. I didn't know that was okay to say. Of course it is. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about handling the moment calmly. And that's the end of our little scene. Did you notice something important in that dialogue?
What's that?
Sarah didn't tell Mark to study more grammar. She gave him a practical phrase. "Could you repeat that, please?" And she reassured him emotionally. Language learning needs both practical tools and emotional support.
Let's take a word from that dialogue. Reassure. Sarah reassured Mark.
To reassure someone means to say something that makes them feel less worry or more confident.
Example, My teacher reassured me that my accent doesn't matter.
Or, she reassured him before his presentation.
Try it yourself. Pause and make a sentence with reassure.
Okay, now let's get really practical. We've talked about why the fear exists. Let's talk about what to actually do about it.
I love this part. Let's go through 5 action steps.
First, lower your standards on purpose, at least at the beginning. Give yourself permission to speak badly.
That sounds strange, but it works. If your goal is perfect English, you'll freeze. If your goal is just communicate one idea, you'll relax.
Try saying to yourself before a conversation, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to be understood.
Step 2. Practice speaking alone before speaking with others. Talk to yourself in the mirror, describe your day out loud, or record voice notes on your phone.
This feels silly at first, but it trains your mouth and your brain to produce English sounds without the pressure of another person listening.
I actually recommend describing your room out loud for 2 minutes every day. Just look around and say what you see.
Step 3, learn some simple filler phrases so silence doesn't feel scary. Phrases like, let me think for a second. That's a good question. How can I explain this?
These phrases buy you time and make you sound natural. Even native speakers use them constantly. Step 4. Find low-pressure environments to practice. This could be a language exchange partner, a friendly online tutor, or even a supportive community.
The goal is to find people who won't judge you so you can build confidence slowly, like building a muscle at the gym. And step 5, my personal favorite, celebrate every small win. Did you say one full sentence today without translating in your head? That's a win. Did you understand a joke in English? That's a win.
Progress in language learning is rarely dramatic. It's small, quiet moments that add up over months and years.
And those small moments deserve to be celebrated, not ignored.
One more pronunciation round before we finish. Let's practice the phrase small wins.
Small. The L sound is soft, almost silent-ish, like small.
And wins, make sure the S at the end is a clear Z sound. Wins.
Full sentence. I celebrate my small wins every single day.
Try saying it with real feeling, like you're proud of yourself.
Come on, put some energy into it.
Now let's answer a few questions we imagine many of you are thinking right now.
Question 1. What if I speak and people don't understand my accent?
Great question. Having an accent is not a problem. Accents show that you speak more than one language, which is impressive, not shameful. The goal isn't to remove your accent completely, it's to speak clearly enough to be understood.
Exactly. Many successful people in business, science, and entertainment speak English with strong accents. Their ideas matter more than their pronunciation.
Question 2. How long will it take before I stop feeling afraid?
Honestly, it's different for everyone. But here's something encouraging. The fear doesn't need to disappear completely before you start speaking. You can feel nervous and speak anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's speaking even when you feel it.
That's beautifully said, Emily. Question 3. What if I make the same mistake again and again?
Then you're human and you're learning. Repetition is part of the process. Even native-speaking children repeat mistakes for years before they speak perfectly. Give yourself that same patience. So let's bring everything together. Today we talked about why so many learners feel afraid to speak English, even after years of studying.
We talked about fear of mistakes, translating in your head, comparing yourself to others, lack of real practice, and painful memories from the past.
We learned that this fear is biological, not a personal weakness. Your brain sometimes treats speaking a new language like a danger situation.
We heard Daniel's story, a student who transformed his confidence not through more grammar, but through practice and permission to make mistakes.
And we gave you 5 practical steps. Lower the bar, practice alone, use filler phrases, find low-pressure speaking partners, and celebrate small wins.
If you remember only one thing from this episode, remember this: fluency is not the goal. Communication is the goal. You don't need to sound like a native speaker. You need to be understood, and you need to enjoy the process.
Every single person who speaks English fluently today, every teacher, every YouTuber, every business person, they were once exactly where you are right now. Nervous, unsure, afraid to speak.
The only difference between them and where you want to be is that they kept speaking anyway.
So here's your homework for this week. Speak out loud in English for at least 5 minutes every day. It can be to yourself, to a friend, to a mirror, or even to your pet.
Yes, your dog is a great listener. No judgment there.
Exactly. No judgment, no pressure, just practice.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If this episode helped you feel a little less afraid and a little more confident, please share it with a friend who's also learning English.
And don't forget to subscribe to Smart English Speaking so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll be talking about how to think in English instead of translating.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, mistakes are just proof that you're trying.
This is Emily
And Leo.
saying goodbye and see you in the next episode.